Good afternoon. My name is Anastasia Indri Castilong. I am from kelas 5B, Akuntansi Keuangan. Research proposal: improving the students' mastery of vocabulary through games. A study will be conducted at MTS Tarabya Tondano. Chapter 1 Introduction. 1. Background of the study. Learning English is very important because English has become an international language, which is used by most communities in the world. Many confuse use English as their second language. In spite of the difficulties in studying English, it is worthy to study the language because it plays a very important role in almost all fields of life such as communication, commerce, economy, politics, education, science, technology, and so on. In Indonesia, English is not considered as a second language, but English is a foreign language. English is also called as the forgotten language that has to be taught in schools in today's Indonesian curriculum. Therefore, the student is hoped to increase their ability in English. 2. Research problem. The students cannot master English well because they are lack of vocabulary, the lack of motivation. Games are one of effective and interesting techniques that can motivate and challenge the student interest to improving the student communicative competence. Through games can improve the student mastery of vocabulary because vocabulary is one of the language components that have to be taught to the students in a learning of foreign language. 3. Reason for choosing the topic. There are several reasons for choosing the topic. They are: teaching vocabulary. Through games is effective technique. Using games brings so many advantages for student and teacher. The researcher interested using games when teaching in the classroom. 4. Purpose of the study. The study is done under the following purpose: to find out whether the using games can improve the students' mastering of vocabulary. 5. Basic assumption. Games activities can increase the students' mastering of vocabulary. If the teacher is using games in the classroom, the student mastery of vocabulary will be automatically increased. Mastery of vocabulary is very important because without mastery of vocabulary, students cannot increase their English competence in listening, speaking, writing, and reading. 6. Research question. Can teaching vocabulary through games improve the students' mastery of English vocabulary? 7. Hypothesis. In teaching and learning vocabulary through games can improve students' mastery of vocabulary. 8. Significance of the study. This study is expected to get the result that will be useful for readers in terms of: 1. As an input data for the English teachers about the using games in the classroom and the importance of vocabulary in teaching English. 2. To motivate students to increase their vocabulary. 3. It's hoped that the study will contribute or will be of any value to other students in conducting further research of the similar topic. 4. Directly, the writer's knowledge can be developed by investigating the topic. 9. Scope delimitation of the study. This study is the limit of the use of games in improving the students' mastery of vocabulary in second grade of student at MTS Tarabya Tondano. Clearly, the writer will only discuss the role of game in helping students learn vocabulary. The writer delimits games into English. Games such as hangman game, guessing games, word focus games, treasure hunts. 10. Definition of terms. Game activities can also help the teacher to create contexts in which the language is useful and meaningful. The learners want to take part, and in order to do so must understand what others are saying or had written, and they must speak or write in order to express their own point of view or give information. Vocabulary, according to Huyen and Ngad, in order to communicate well in a foreign language, students should acquire an adequate number of words and should know how to use them accurately. Chapter 2. Review of literature. 1. Teaching. Teacher plays an important role in the teaching, learning process. In teaching English as a foreign language, the teacher needs to vary way of teaching in order to get the students' interest and attention to the lesson. In teaching learning process, there are some factors which can influence the successful goals in the school. They are curriculum, materials, method, teacher, students, and the technique. Ritchie stated that teaching may be considered to be basic to all the other professions are made possible through the work of teachers in elementary and secondary school, college, and university. Furthermore, Brown stated that teaching is howing or helping someone how to do something, give instruction, guiding in the study of something, providing with knowledge, causing to know or understanding. Teaching is building and facilitating learning, enabling the learner to learn, setting to conditioning for learning. 2. Vocabulary. Vocabulary is one important aspect in learning a foreign language. Without a proportional amount of vocabulary, anyone will get trouble in her speaking, reading, listening, and writing. Without a shred of doubt, the writer said that the acquisition of vocabulary would help people in gaining understanding and also enhancing the progress of knowledge transfer for a better life. People in going understanding and also enhancing the process knowledge transfer for a better life indisputably the case for progress or success in any kind of fields like computers, technology, economy, politics, tourism, and educational increase with the size and applications of vocabulary. Vocabulary plays important roles in mastering English. Refers in Noonan state that vocabulary is essential for successful study on the second language. Wilkins in Tombury sum up that without vocabulary nothing can be conveyed. Vocabulary refers to all words in the whole language in a particular variety. According to Harimukti Kridalaksana, vocabulary is a component of a language that maintains all of information about meaning and using word in a language. 3. Games. Games also help the teacher to create context in which the language is useful and meaningful. The learners want to take part in order to do so much understand what others are saying or have written, and they must speak or write in order to express their own point of view or give information. According to Jeremy Harmer, games are a vital part of a teacher's equipment, not only the language practices they provide, but also for the therapeutic effect they have. They can be used at any stage of a class to provide an amusing and challenging respite from other classroom activity about their English class. 4. The types of games. 1. Hangman games. Hangman games is a game that the student play off on groups. Before start the games, teacher explain how to play the game. The student must memorize the word about everything. For example, about animal, the student must memorize the name of animal. After that, teacher divided student into groups. The student must guess the word. Is that I, A, E, U? And if the word they guess false, teacher make on the board the picture people hang. B. Guessing games. Guessing games can be painless ways to develop or reinforce any number of concepts. Guess what I am. Guess who I am. For example, can be used to teach about animals, professions, or people in different age groups. Baby, child, teenagers, young adult, middle-aged adult, elderly person. Guess what I'm doing can be used to teach recognition in the target language of activities such as talking about, go, finishing doing homework, and so forth. Free sources for game ideas are mentioned, but teachers are reminded that one of the best sources in the students themselves. C. Word focus games. Games that using word to see how many other words they can make from them. Or example, the following words can be made from the word teacher or her, teach, reach, cheer, each, her, here, arch, tea, eat, and so forth. An alternative activity is to have terms of students see how many words they can make from a letter guard, such as the example. Students must move along the connecting lines without skipping any letters. A single letter cannot be used twice in succession but can be returned to if there is an intervening letter. For example, regret is acceptable but great is not. The treasure hunts. A treasure hunt is a favorite game among second language learners. It allows them to work cooperatively in a group. Effort to find the item requests. The following steps are taken in organizing treasure hunt. 1. Divide the class into groups of from 3, 4, 6 members. 2. Give an identical list of treasure each group. 3. Rate the items allowed for children or less proficient students to make sure they understand the vocabulary. 4. A time limit shall be given. 5. Say go to indicate when the groups can begin their search. 6. At the end of the limit or when the first group returns, everyone gets together to check each item, giving points. 5 points or suggests for each complete item. Points are taken away for unplayed ones. 5. Why game activities? There is some reasons why activities in teaching learning process game are very important in teaching English as a foreign language. According to Andre Wright, David Bettert, and Michael Buckby in their books Games for Language Learning, Cambridge University Press, language learning is hard work, effort is required there at every moment, and must be maintained over a long period of time. Games help and encourage many learners to sustain their interest and work. 6. The use of game in developing mastering of vocabulary. Many experienced textbook and methodology manualist writes have argued that games are not just time-filling activity but have a great educational value. Early holds that most language games make learners use the language instead of thinking about learning the correct forms. He also said that games should be rated as central, not preparatory for language teaching program. A similar opinion expressed Richard Amato, who believes games to be fun once against overlooking their pedagogical value, particularly in foreign language teaching. There are many advantages of using games. Games can lower anxiety, thus making the equation of input more likely. They are highly motivating and turning, and they can give shy students more opportunity to express their opinions and feelings. Chapter 3. Research methodology. 1. Research design. In this research, the writer would like to collect, process, and decide the data to get conclusion of the research. This research is called quantitative research because it will use number of or statistics. In this research of pre-experiment design with one group, pretest and post-test design will be used. Pretest is the list which given to the students before the treatment. The post-test is given to the students after the treatment to find out the students' achievement. Buller stated that experiment studies are the tools in which the investigator deliberately manipulates some factors or circumstance in order to this effect on some other phenomenon. So there are two tests, T1 the pre-test and T2 the post-test. X is used to symbols the treatment in the presentation of the design. T1 X2. The design above means that the teacher gives them praise before using games, then gives them post-test after this teaching several times using games. 2. Population and sample. Population is the area in which you are trying to get information from. According to Barnes, population in an entire group of people or objects or events which all have at least one characteristic on common and must be defined specially and unambiguously in the study. The population is the studies of empty tabiat nano. Sample Sample is a section of your population that you are actually going to survey. Milan and Suk matter that sample is a group of subjects selected from the population. The sample of this research, the second grade students at MTS Tabia Tandano, they consist of 21 students. 3. Data collection. The writer gives the students the pre-test and post-test used to this. The no groups of the students pre-test and post-test are the same in form as VLS is content, but the time and aim are different. Firstly, both the experiment class and control class will given the pre-test before the lesson is begun to know the students' knowledge of the material that will be taught. Secondly, both the experiment class and control class will given the same materials but with the different techniques of presentation. The experiment class was given the games technique and the control class without games. The last step in the experiment is giving the post the two classes, class A and class B. Post test giving after the lesson class A and class B. Post test giving after the lesson is finished to know students talk. 4. Instrument. The data will be collected through a test. The test will be in form of written list. They are objective and essay that tests. There are pre-test and post-test. The test is arranged according to the material given. 5. Data analysis. The data presented in recursion, distribution, competition or mean score, X, and standard deviation, and the entire test can be presented on frequency polygon. Sekian dari presentasi ini, terima kasih.